let me. So today we'll take literature. We'll continue the omnivorous dilemma, omnivore's dilemma. Previous time we didn't finish first read. So let's go to it and share it with you. Here is it. Omnivorous dilemma. What did we discuss previous time? Previous time we discussed some vocabulary. I didn't share it. Here is it. Okay. You see the PowerPoint, girls, right? Malnutrition.
Yes. Yes.
Overnutrition. Sedentary. Sedentary is in a state that you sit in front of your television on your couch and you do not move for a long time. Like now, starting the quarantine, we live a sedentary life. Okay, and then the rest of the vocabulary. And then we move to, okay. Did we discuss these questions, girls, or we just finished the excerpt?
We just finished the excerpt.
Okay, so we start. Answering the questions. Okay. The first question: what facts does the author give about obesity in the United States? What did he say about obesity in the United States? So I want you to go and skim the excerpt, please, and get me the answer.
Can I say this?
Yes, Lujan?
When he said that the number of people who are suffering overnutrition has surpassed the number who are suffering malnutrition.
Yes, so people who suffer from overnutrition more than those who suffer from malnutrition. Yes. What else?
I say it, miss.
Yes.
And when he said that the children nowadays are going to have shorter lives than the ones before.
Yes.
Because of
shorter
diabetes.
lives. Yes. Yes. Excellent. And this also, read it.
It costs $90 billion per year in healthcare. 1 in 5 Americans is obese. 1 in 3 children will develop diabetes.
Yes, excellent. Dear. Okay, second question. So now, girls, you understand the answers? Lujain said 2 out of here, not written here, and we wrote 1 here. She said that people who suffer from overnutrition, the number of them is more than those who suffer from malnutrition. And she also said that, what was the second point, Lujain?
That people have shorter lives than the ones before.
Yes, they will have shorter life than those than their parents and sisters. Question 2, what is the difference between the causes of obesity and the cause behind the causes? Remember, while we were reading, we were underlining reasons and causes. What is a cause and what is the cause behind the cause?
Can I say this?
Yes, please.
We have the causes, they mentioned many, like the poverty, the technology, and the clever marketing. And also they said that all of these causes, they are behind a cause, only one cause, which is the farm. And the farm, they started like long time ago. They were spending a lot of time on or money on overproduction. So in order to reduce that, they start spending more money and time on the raw materials that can be efficient for the for the
For the
the
fast
food
food and junk
industry of
food
food.
and
Yes,
excellent
exactly.
and unhealthy food. Excellent. Like what and
Exactly.
what?
Like the soybeans and the corn.
And corn. Excellent. And why
Exactly.
soybeans and corn especially? Because they are
Beneficial for the industrial food, so it becomes more cheaper, and they can be
yes.
benefited more from it.
Yes, you know what, girls? Previous week, whenever we went out and then we ate, they brought McDonald's and I kept thinking of, they say that the food is delicious when they add fat and sugar, and this is true. The whole week, previous week, whenever I eat anything and I feel like, oh, it's tasty, I find whether it has any one of those fat, whether it's fried or had lots of fat in it, or it's sugary.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you, Sarah. Read it, Sarah. Read the answer.
Yes, the author is making the point that the explanations we usually rely on, influence, poverty, technology, etc., do not provide a full explanation, and he's giving an additional hidden explanation by pointing to historical governmental policy decisions.
Yes, thank you, Sarah.
Okay.
Yes, he answered very well answered. Okay, question 3. What does the author imply about the government's role in causing the obesity epidemic? What does he say, the author, about the government's the government's hand in causing the obesity epidemic? What is the government doing to help obesity, increasing obesity? Sarah, I've just said any closer answer. Who wants to answer?
Can I say no?
Yeah. Yeah. Who? Layan?
Yes, I am.
Yes, please, Layan.
I think there are two statements. The first one is when he said it was the same decade that America embraced a cheap food farm policy where the
Yes.
obesity increased. And then
Yes.
he also mentioned at the end that while the surgeon is raising alarms, the president is signing farm bills. So the government
Yes.
is helping the farms, which is causing the obesity.
Yes.
Yeah.
The the agriculture laws that they sign, which
Mm.
increases or helps or supports planting the corn and the soybeans. Read it, Layan.
The government encourages farmers to raise too much corn and soybeans, which are prime ingredients in processed food. As a result, much of the cheapest food is processed. People buy the cheaper, unhealthy food and gain weight. Ironically, then the government tries to encourage healthy eating to combat obesity.
Yes. So, Lean Ammar, are you here? Dareen.
Yes, Nurse.
So Dareen here, after what Lujain, Sarah, and Layan said, we can infer that the reason for obesity, the cause or the main reason behind the reasons, yani we have technology is a reason, we have sedentary life is a reason, we have all of these, okay? But the main cause behind these causes was what? The governmental agreements.
Yeah.
That they sign agreements to plant what and what, ya Dareen?
Um,
Corn
to corn
and soybeans.
yeah.
Why especially corn and soybeans? Because they are raw materials for the unhealthy and processed food. They are they are the basics to cook the cheapest food and
Mm-hmm.
processed food. So instead of planting a field of carrots, they plant a field of corn. Why? Because carrot cannot be used in processed food, but corn can be used in processed food. So corn is cheap, soybeans are cheap. You know, girls, there is no burger without soybeans. I told you. Okay, and if you buy this pure burger from the pure meat and you cook it home, it tastes differently. Why? Because outside they add soybeans and spices, so there are no meats in the burger. So people buy the cheaper and unhealthy food and gain weight, and then the government encourage them, please, you have to lose weight, ironically. Okay, focus on understanding main ideas. Bilqis. Bilqis?
Miss,
Yes?
Miss, I'm Lana. I'm going to go out then come back in quickly. Can I?
Okay, dear. Jude,
Thank you, Miss.
Yes, miss.
read Jude.
Are you putting the PowerPoint?
I didn't share it all of that with you?
No, I couldn't see it.
All of you girls, you cannot see the PowerPoint?
No, Miss.
I can.
Ah, okay, so Jude sign out and then log out and then log in again.
Okay.
Okay, Ghada.
Yes, miss.
Yes, please.
I'll read.
Yes.
In the first paragraph, Pauline identifies what he believes is the main effect of obesity, the attendant rise in diabetes and other related illnesses. What does the explain next? How does this introduction fit into the main idea of the entire excerpt? Use your notes from the My Thoughts column to identify the main idea of each paragraph. Fill in the following chart. Put the author's ideas into your own words.
Okay. Again, so he wants us to focus on understanding main ideas. How we understand the main ideas. So he says to you in the first paragraph, Pauline identifies what he believes is the main effect of obesity that we have discussed now, girls, that the main effect of obesity will be what? Okay, the attendant rise in diabetes. People will, or children will have diabetes more than their parents and sisters. So they will live shorter than their parents and ancestors. And next to diabetes, why diabetes especially? Because it comes from fats, carbohydrates, sugar. And then other related illnesses. There will be other illnesses. Then what did he explain next? How does this introduction fit into the main idea of the entire excerpt? Okay, let's see. What we wrote in our thoughts will help me identify the main idea of each paragraph. Remember when we wrote next to it? When he asked us to summarize what happened? Here, in paragraph 1. Open paragraph 1, girls. Open page what, 200 what?
268.
268? No.
64.
The excerpt itself.
64.
Yes. In paragraph number one, when he say the main idea here, he says, Noor, read it please. Or no, wait, Noor, not Noor. We take Buthaina.
Yes, ma'am.
Read the first paragraph here, Buthaina, please.
Okay. Obesity has become a costly health problem in America and around the world. I read the paragraph 2.
The paragraph in your book, not in the slide.
Okay. According to the Surgeon General, obesity today is officially an epidemic. It's arguably the most pressing public health problem we face, costing the healthcare system an estimated $90 billion a year. Three are very five American are overweight. One of five is obesity. A recent study in the Journal of the American Medical Association predict that a child born in 2000 has a 1 in 3 chance of developing diabetes. Because of the
Okay.
diabetes,
So
also
yes. So the main idea here, he says obesity, as Buthaina read, obesity has become a costly health problem in America and around the world. What about paragraph 2? Thank you, thank you, Buthaina. Fatima or Fatima, yes. Or Lilian.
Yes,
Where is
miss.
Lilian? Wait, you Fatima. You and Noor, you read later. Fatima, Lilian. Lina Ayad. Liliana or Lina Ayad. And Lina Ammar. Neither of them is here. Lina Ayad, Lina Ammar, Lilian are not here. Okay. Who's else? Natalie. Natalie is not here. Bulqis. Asma. So it means no one is in the class or what? I have 30 girls. Where are I called 2 for 6 and 6 they do not reply of 60 girls. Wait a minute.
Miss Nada,
Yes.
Miss Lien Ammar, her mic is not working.
So she's here but her mic is not working.
Yes.
Okay. So Dalia.
Yes, miss.
Yes, Dalia. Yes, please. Okay, read the second paragraph, ya Dalia.
Is it page 268?
No, not 268. The excerpt itself, ya Dalia.
Where?
Dalia, you were asleep. We've just read out of it. We just read it. A first paragraph.
Yes, but what page?
Where is the beginning of the excerpt, ya Dalia? Beginning of the excerpt, ya Dalia. Dalia. Beginning of the excerpt in your book, dear. Which page?
270?
No, ya Dalia. Okay, Jana. All of that only to read
Yes,
the paragraph
miss.
first. Grade 11. Read the second paragraph, ya Jana.
Okay. You hear plenty of explanations for humanity's expanding waistline, all of them plausible. This one right? Or I continue what she read?
Continue, dear.
I thought in the second paragraph يعني. Okay. Missed stitches stop in a recent study or because of diabetes?
Yes, where did you stop, ya Buthaina?
Yes, miss. I stopped in because of diabetes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because
Okay,
of
Jana.
diabetes and all other health problems that accompany obesity, today's children may turn out to be the first generation of Americans whose life expectancy will actually be shorter than that of their parents. The problem is not limited to America. The United Nations reported that in 2000, the number of people suffering from overnutrition, a billion,
Yes.
had
So
officially.
all of that, we are still in paragraph number 1, right? Yes, we go to paragraph number 2.
You hear plenty.
Yes.
You hear plenty of explanations for humanity's
Expanding
Excellent.
ways
So you hear plenty of explanation. So he writes for you that the main idea is that there are several explanations have been proposed, right? Like what?
changes in lifestyle with more.
Excellent. Uh,
I continue.
yes.
With more sedentary, we eat out more. Affluence, more people can afford a high fat Western diet. Poverty,
Excellent.
a
So,
healthier.
yes, several explanations have been proposed, including changes in lifestyle, economic status, and diet. Thank you, Jana. Thank you so much. Dalia, focus with us, ya Dalia. Follow us, ya Dalia. Okay? Three, Ghada. No, Ghada answered. Fatima. Fatima?
Yes.
Yes, three. Paragraph three. Where is it? Where does it start? On which
All
page and
these
where?
explanations.
Yes.
All these explanations are true as far as they go, but it pays to go a little further to search for the cause, cause behind the cause, which very simply is this: when food is abundant and cheap, people will eat more of it and get fat. Since 1977, an American average daily intake of calories has jumped by more than 10%, but the important question is, where exactly did all those extra calories come from in the first place? And the answer to that question takes us back to the source of almost all calories, the farm.
Okay, so what did we write here, or did we think here to get the main idea of the paragraph 3? What is the main idea here?
When food is abundant and cheap, people will eat more and get fat.
Excellent, excellent. Here, read it.
The problem behind obesity can all be tied together. If there is affordable food, people will eat it.
Yes, because food is abundant, a lot of food, people will eat it. They will not stop. Excellent, Fatima. Okay, for Noor Abdul Karim, read
Most
paragraph 4.
researchers, okay, most researchers trace America's rising obesity rates to the 1970s. This was, of course, the same decade America embraced a cheap food farm policy and began demanding 40 years of programs designing to prevent overproduction. One Secretary of Agriculture,
Yes.
do I continue?
Yes.
Sought to drive up the agriculture yields in order to drive up the price of the industrial food chain raw materials,
So
particularly
what is the
corn.
paragraph about, Yanur? What can you infer the paragraph is about?
Um, the reason behind the rise of obesity, which is because America embraced a cheap food farm policy.
Excellent. So the research says that the cheap food, okay, the cheap food farm policies is the start of obesity problem. Here, read it, dear. Read it, Yanur, in paragraph 4.
Researchers indicate that cheap food farm policy were the start of the obesity problem.
Yes. Okay. Noor Bilal, no, sorry. Noor Bilal.
Yes, miss.
Yes, dear. Read paragraph 5 from the excerpt.
One might think that people would stop eating and drinking these gargantuan portions as soon as they felt full. But it turns out hunger does not work that way. Human appetite, it turns out, is surprisingly elastic, which makes excellent evolutionary sense. It behooved our hunter-gatherer ancestor to feast whenever the opportunity to feast presented itself, allowing them to build up
Yes.
reserves allowing them
Yes.
to build up reserves of fat against future famine. Obesity researchers call this trait the thrifty gene, and while the gene represents a useful
Okay,
adaptation,
no, stop at the this G. So what happens here? What is the main idea in paragraph 5, Noor?
explanation for overeating.
Yes, and here, excellent dear. What did he say especially about this? People do what?
People overeat in feasts, and
Yes.
they eat more than what they need.
Sorry, girls. Yes, dear, excellent. Whenever they have a chance to eat, they eat. So read it, dear, in paragraph 5.
Teacher, it did not appear. Yes, no, it did. As a result of evolutionary necessity, people eat more than their body needs in order to store up fat for times of scarcity.
Yes, yes. Okay. Then we go to paragraph 6. Thank you, dear. Thank you, Noor. Malak Wasim.
Yes, miss.
Paragraph 6, يا Malak.
Is it natural selection?
Yes.
Natural selection predisposed us to the taste of sugar and fat, its texture as well as taste. Because sugars and fats offer the most energy, which is what a calorie is per bite,
Yes.
yet in nature, in whole foods, we seldom encounter these nutrients in the concentrations we now find them in processed foods.
Yes. So what is the main idea here, dear?
They're talking about the calories and
Yes. And what are the two substances that we like the most?
yes, and the energy per bite.
Yes. What are these two things?
Calories
The
and
calories,
fats.
and they are where? Excellent. Fats and sugar. So read it. Read it, Malak.
Uh, it didn't appear. Okay. Our bodies crave sugar and fat because they offer the most concentrated energy.
Yes. Okay, we go to paragraph 7. رغد. 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 دانا وائل. ريما.
Yes,
ريما.
miss. Yes,
Yes,
miss.
dear. Read paragraph 7.
After processed foods.
Yes.
Okay. You won't find a fruit with anywhere near the amount of fructose in a soda, or a piece of animal flesh with quite as much fat as a chicken nugget. You begin to see why processing food is such a good strategy for getting people to eat more of them. The power of food science lies in its ability to break food down into their nutrient parts and then resemble them in specific ways. In effect, push our evolutionary buttons, fooling the omnivore's inherited food selection system. Add fat or sugar to anything and it's going to taste better on the tongue of an animal that natural selection has wired to seek out energy
So
dense
what is
foods.
the main idea here? What does he talk about here?
He's talking about the science behind why animals tend to like fatty or
Excellent.
sugary foods.
Excellent, dear. Excellent. Read it.
Processed foods taste better because we are programmed by evolution to eat energy-dense foods.
Excellent, dear. Thank you. Okay. 8. دانا وائل. Rama, is Rama here today? Dana Wael?
Yes, miss.
Yes, Dana. Paragraph 8.
Yes,
Read it. Where
I
he
can't
must
see
have
it.
stopped. What?
I can't see it, miss.
Read? No, not from the slide, from the book. Rima was reading from the book. Kadra? Dana, focus with us, dear. Follow us. Kadra?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, Kadra, paragraph 8.
This begs the question of why the problem has gotten so much worse in the recent years. It turns out that part of the calorie of the sugar of fat has plummeted since the 1970s. One reason that obesity and diabetes become more prevalent the farther down the socio-economic scale you look is that the industrial food chain has made energy-dense food the cheapest food in that market.
Yes. So here, where is the main idea? Continue, and you'll get it.
When measured in terms of cost per calorie. A recent study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition
Excellent. So what is the main idea here يا كادرة?
that they made the energy dense food the cheapest food in the marketplace.
Excellent,
They
excellent.
intake of the calories than the previous generation.
Yes, yes, excellent, dear. Read it from the slide.
Because energy dense food with more calories are cheaper, it makes sense for people with a little money to buy fatty foods over healthy.
Yes. Thank you, Kadra. Then we see Jumana. Jumana, are you here? Okay, Durra.
Yes, miss.
Jumana, you're here? Okay, paragraph 9, Jumana, read it, please.
Very simply, we subsidize high fructose corn syrup in this country, but not carrots, while the Surgeon General is raising alarms over the epidemic of obesity. The President is signing fine bills designed to keep the river of cheap corn flowing, guaranteeing that the cheapest calories in the supermarket will continue to be
Yes. So what is the main idea you can get out here, Juman? What is the main idea here? He talks about what, Jumana? The government does what?
It makes the high energy food cheaper.
Yes, subsidizes commodities high in fat and sugar. Excellent, Jumana. Read it, dear. Read the main idea in paragraph 9.
It didn't appear on the screen. Yes. The government subsidizes commodities high in fat and sugar, adding to the obesity problem by keeping processed food cheap and plentiful.
Yes. Okay. Now we finished the whole main ideas for all the paragraphs. Okay. Of course, I'll upload for you the PowerPoint presentation. You have homework is to what here on page after the paragraph you have to write. He says to you to share it with the partner. No, do not share it with the partner. Choose any paragraph. Choose any paragraph as we wrote here, and say it in your own words. Formulate a main idea statement for the entire excerpt. Okay, yeah. After now you have all these paragraphs main idea. Read them together. No, do not choose one paragraph. Read them together and get me one main idea for the whole excerpt. One main idea for the whole excerpt. It's in your copybook. And so you write what the main idea of the excerpt that Pauline has said, and you write it your own words. It will be only 5 lines or 4 lines. You can write it here in this space on page 269. I will upload an assignment for you. Okay? Okay, grade 10?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So now we'll stop here for 5 minutes break and then we come after 5 minutes. Wash your face and fresh up and come. Yes.